Yo, yo. I don't know if you're connected.
Should be working now.
Yep. Bluetooth.
No, it's the old you unplugged your laptop yesterday and went and worked from somewhere else. So you probably, when you plugged it back in, you probably didn't want to use the same microphone you were using the day before. Problem.
Oh yeah. Why would you want to save settings? That'd be weird.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. How was your dentist trip? All right.
Basically, they told me that the rubber bands we used were ineffective. We need stronger rubber bands. So you'll probably be in these for like another month or so. Yeah.
Rubber bands.
I have Invisalign, so you can't really see them, but I have them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Little rubber bands here in the back, and yeah, and so they use these really light ones, and then they're just like, yeah, they just didn't work. So here's some heavy duty ones.
Okay. So the rubber bands, what do the rubber bands do?
Basically, they take the bottom set of teeth and they're like pushing them back and pushing the front ones forward so that like my underbite gets corrected.
Right. Okay.
Just to move the teeth so that my bottom teeth are just below my top teeth.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh well, sounds complicated, but hopefully you get it sorted.
Yeah. Oh man, it's been months, and I'm just like, I'm so ready for these things to be out of my mouth. Like,
yeah. Yeah. You have to clean them after each meal and stuff, do you?
Yeah.
Or
Huge.
Yeah,
hassle.
quite a lot of work. Yeah.
Oh, see everyone's popping in. Hey, Rita. Oh, that's a good sweater. Is it actually cold enough for that scarf though?
I'm always cold. Also, it's freezing in Bay Area, if you believe it.
We're talking like what, 58? What how cold is cold?
No, it's been snowing.
That's freakishly apocalyptic.
I think it's like hasn't snowed in like 40 years or something, or I don't know, something crazy like that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up there and I never saw snow, so.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah, if you want snow, you go to Tahoe.
exactly. Actually, I think Yosemite shut down because the snow is just like crazy amount of snow. So
Yeah, like they don't have like the snow, like the proper snow trucks. They have like small plows, but not like the, oh, let's clear a whole freeway.
well,
for
you
like
don't
100
understand. Bay Area people can't deal with that weather. Like we don't know how to drive. We don't know how to do anything.
They're just like, huh, my summer tires really don't work here anymore.
Yeah.
Round blocks of rubbery ice.
Yeah. They were just commenting on why am I wearing this ridiculous scarf.
To save on energy.
There you go.
Then you only got to set your heat to, 65 instead of 75. It'll be fine. The scarf helps a bunch.
I just think she could have it set to 100, but she chose to wear the scarf.
Hey, I'm doing my part for to help with global warming, dude. I don't know about you. Just kidding.
I don't know.
No.
I checked the box that says I only want to use renewable energy for my house, and so I pay extra for that. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? The thermostat could be a little higher. It's fine. I'm using only renewable energy.
Do you have a heat pump or something like that?
I don't know exactly how it works. I just know that it's like here in Colorado, the energy company is Excel, and like there's a checkbox where like you can pay like 10% more, and they're like, oh, we'll only pull like from renewable sources. And so I don't know. I believe they're telling the truth. I don't know.
Special green energy electron that comes down the wire.
Yeah, I think they just changed their priority for how they provision, because it all kind of just like gets mixed up otherwise. Yeah. So you're subsidizing green energy.
Probably it's not like a direct like, okay, we rewired you to a different grid or anything. Yeah.
Still good.
Yeah.
San Francisco is the same kind of thing. They have they have a couple of rate plans, and I'm not sure how this happens, but like PG&E, but is like the owner of the wires, but there's also like other generation companies you could like buy your electricity from or something like that.
Yeah. PG&E was always like, I was just like, they've always been like a monopoly, but it's just like there's never been another contender. And so the state's kind of like, well, like it's fine that they're a monopoly because no one else wants to compete.
Well, there's Southern California Edison.
I've never, well, I grew up in Northern California, so I've never heard of them. Yeah.
Energy.
Yeah. Nice. Another cool shirt. Oh man, I'm gonna step my shirt game up next time. I see surfboards. See, he looks like he's California living, unlike Rita.
I'm muted. This is the San Diego Cube Con shirt.
Ah, yep. See, Nude had California vibes. Surfboard, sun skies. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Surtash, I think we're in different
Yeah.
See, I feel like Max and I are kind of like he's wearing a jacket. Like you, what's up with you?
Me? This.
Surtash.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You guys are. I mean, I understand Max. He's in the basement.
Yeah.
It's real cold right now in this room.
I turned on the heater. That's why I'm like not cold. Yeah.
Hey, also
Sorry,
Peter,
sweating.
are you wearing a name tag?
No, it's funny. This is for a company called Common Room. And so like basically it's a community platform. And so it's a play on like, yeah, like I'm a community person here to like introduce myself situation.
Oh.
It's a very nice like quality hoodie. And so I was just like, I always end up wearing it.
A good conversation starter.
Yeah.
Can you like Sharpie your name?
Oh, I should actually just write my name on it. That'd be fun.
Actually, GitHub had a shirt where you could put your candle in the back. I love that shirt. But over time, the wash kind of removes it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it is nice when like someone thinks to create some swag that's like, you're like, oh, I would actually like use this instead of just like all the normal stuff. You'd be like, oh, this one's like actually cool.
Or you could actually use it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like so many of these shirts, I'm like, these are weird sizes or weird designs, and I would just like never touch them. And stacks of them.
But they're so free.
They are very free and very abundant.
Think you could save $100 a year. You buy 5 shirts. It's $100 right there. Go to one conference.
I remember when I was like 23 or something, I had so many of these free shirts that I would just like see how long I could go without like washing them. So it'd be like, I could go like 3 months and be like, all right, now I gotta wash them. And then it would just be like, it would take me hours and hours to fold all these things and just have this like pile of clean shirts. And I was like, oh, I just can't do this now.
That sounds right.
Yeah. And so I've given up on that approach of like, I'll just wear all my shirts until every one of them is dirty. I realize it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, but then you get those shirts that never get worn.
Yes. And you have to purge like once a year with all this like conference crap. Like it's not just the shirts, it's all the other things. Like here's a notebook and a pack of pens and these socks that you don't like the quality of and this other thing. And so you've got to like put them all in a box and donate them at some point.
I still have a shirt or two from like reInvent 2014.
reInvent probably that's the one place where they're just like chucking stuff left and right. Like you could leave with like a dumpster full of free stuff if you wanted to. Oh, that's madhouse.
It holds up, like no holes or anything. What's up?
You mean when companies still have money?
Oh,
Oh, come on. You put it right up there. I had to do it.
remember 20, was that good?
I'd say, yeah, it's been a rough year and a half, maybe.
I feel like 2015, 2016, there was like a little bit of talk around, they're going to tighten the spigot. It's going to happen. And it didn't really, or like it happened for 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, it was more like they're going to, so let's take a quick pause. Like this is like an actual, oh yeah, we shut the faucet off.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Wow.
Yeah. They're excited to be in here. It's been so cold. I haven't been down here much.
At least that always amazes me that the cat can be in like, 0-degree weather or like 120-degree weather, and they'll just like either way just kind of lay there. Be like, this is fine.
Yeah, I think they generally prefer hot. Maybe not if you're like a Maine Coon or something like that.
Oh, those things are so fluffy. Yeah, I had a friend who had a Maine Coon mix, and I swear he was bipolar. He'd be like so nice and loving, and then like he'd walk back in an hour and be like, "You're in my spot." Yeah. Like, you were just nice to me an hour ago.
Yeah, but you never left his spot.
Yeah. I never knew what that cat was thinking. It was so just like they had to put up a sign that says like, "Don't touch the cat, no matter how nice it looks."
It will betray you. It's a trap.
Yeah. It's like if you don't acknowledge the cat, it's fine. But if you go over there and be like, "Oh, look, he looks like he wants pets," and like he doesn't want them.
This one always wants pets. Hi. Yeah, you. Oh, that sound got to him.
Yeah. Oh, how's it going, Davis? Oh, no, I think you're still on mute somewhere. I like all the plants behind Davis. I'm trying to get in.
Hello?
Oh, yeah, now
There you are.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. What kind of plant is that directly to the left of your head? Or my left, looking at you, yeah.
This
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, what's that one?
I think it's called the Z plant.
Huh.
I don't know why it's called that. It's like it lives in low light. That's why it's here.
Gotcha.
Only one that will survive.
Yeah, I just bought a Monstera. And that's this big, like, funky leaves with like the holes in them. Been going pretty good. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, those ones are beautiful.
I know I need to figure out a way to like rearrange this office so that I can have things behind me, like plants and stuff. So it's not just a blank wall every day.
Good for a green screen though, same color.
I could just paint the wall green, yeah, and just be like, it's fine. Scoot the desk over a little bit. Yeah.
There you go.
I see a blank agenda still. Do people have anything they want to cover? Other than my cat?
Action items, kibble and fancy feast.
I think he mostly yells at walls and like corners he can't get to.
That makes sense. Nothing pisses off a cat like locking a door, and then they'll yell and yell and yell until you open it so they can walk the opposite direction. Like, thanks. I was cat sitting during the pandemic for my cousin. They have 3 cats, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, Luca's a little needy," and I was like, "Oh, it'll be fine." They're like, "Oh, like him and the other cats normally sleep in our bed, and since you're sleeping in the guest room and we're not there, he might come over to your room." And I was like, "Well, I'll just close the door." He's like, "Okay." Sat there for 3 hours meowing at that door. I gave up at like like 12:30, and I was like, fine, you want to come in? And then I opened the door, and then he left, and I was so mad. Looks like there's a comment from Alex. Let's see here. Do you want to talk more about the multi-engine PR?
Yeah, did anyone comment? I replied to everyone's comments as of yesterday. I haven't checked this morning to see if last night anyone's done anything. I would like to get it in so that it's in. It is blocking, I think, Alex's work on metrics because they hit the same piece of code. But it'd be good to have the multi-engine PR ready for when the cell cap is ready. I expect the cell cap code complete for Kubernetes is what, end of the month, something like that, or a couple of weeks. I think it's like 2 weeks. And once these feature sets are implemented, we'll have custom matchers and we'll have enforcement actions in the cell cap, which should be the missing features, right? So then after that, it's wait until controller runtime is ready to deal with the bleeding edge K8s code, and we'll be able to put the cell cap in if we're positioned to do so. And this PR is what does that.
I think we have a release due soon. I think this breaks the gatekeeper. Is that right? Because the GK tests don't pass?
It's not compatible with the current gatekeeper, but it doesn't it's just interface changes. And that's also for constraint framework, right? So if we don't update constraint framework in gatekeeper, it won't be an issue.
Yeah, that was my point. That if we want to get anything else onto frameworks,
gotcha.
Yeah, so we can be careful, or we can cherry pick those ones.
Yeah, I mean the only active PR I'm aware of for frameworks is the is Alex's stuff with the custom metrics, which is blocked on the multi-engine.
Do we want to get that into 3.11?
The custom metrics stuff?
Yeah.
When are we thinking of cutting 3.11? This week, you said?
Yeah, I think we cut 11 on January 4th. So 2 months from that is basically like Saturday. But so we can cut an RC like next week or so, maybe.
Probably a bit ambitious to try to get it in this week or over the next 2 weeks. The custom metrics one, particularly if multi-engine isn't merged until like later this week, that leaves like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Do we want to delay the release, or are we okay to just say, okay, we'll include it in the next one?
I mean, more features sooner is always nicer, right? But at the same time, there's been no. Oh well, that's not entirely true. I was gonna say there's been no like requests for the custom metric stuff. This is more just something that would be nice if it were available. The one active thing I'm aware of, and I'm not sure what the state of this is there was someone who was curious about, I believe it was some kind of performance issue they were having. And we hit a wall essentially where it was hard to gather metrics for constraints that weren't violated, right? And so even though we have like a flavor of evaluation metrics that reports on violating constraints currently, and even though we have, you know, the Rego tracing, which we can't really use for this because it affects latency so much. I'm not sure it's representative, though maybe. And we have Prometheus metrics. It's hard to identify the actual root cause. Was this? I think this is actually the one where someone was saying, "Hey, could you multi-thread?" Was it audit? Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, so that's the only place where I personally would find it helpful to have this code, because it would help add some clarity to that situation of what would actually yield a performance benefit. So up to you whether that's worth delaying for a few weeks, or it's also possible to just have them, if they're able to, right? If it's not production or sensitive production, they could run a one of the nightly builds.
I'm trying to find the issue so we can put it in the agenda. If you have it, please share, put it in the chat or somewhere.
I can look, but yeah, Alex, this is the one where someone was asking to multi-thread audit because of performance issues. I think it's like a month and a half old, maybe 2 at this point.
Is it this one?
Issue audit thread.
Yeah, I think it's this one. I put it in the chat, Max.
Is this audit takes an unreasonable amount of time? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's this one.
Okay, yeah, so oh right, I made a PR that would help add some visibility here. And it doesn't look like we followed up once that log line was added. Basically, with what I remember of the state of that bug is that it was ambiguous whether it was network latency or the speed of evaluating Rego. Between the two, network latency is much more likely to be slow, right? Because you got one, network versus in process, right? And 2, you have throttling on the API server. So I could see if you have like incredibly complex Rego, maybe you could get into the minutes, particularly if it's n squared or whatever with regard to cache data, and you have a lot of cache data. But generally, I think this person is saying scale of hours. Is that right? Slows down the audit. Confirm.
I guess we probably need a design that talks about how we can, I guess, divide up the requests to the API server, right? So that it's can be multi-threaded.
Well, I don't want to necessarily take the request at face value of like we should multi-thread, right? Because I think the core what they're asking is, hey, could this take less long? And it's not clear to me that it's not like obviously untrue, right? There's just not enough data to know whether it's the audit process running in a single thread, or if it's like how we do networking or whatever. And it would be a shame to go through the complexity of like
Sure.
multi-threading audit to yield 0 gains, right? So that's why it would be good to have more data. If we try to increase, the other interesting thing is like with regard to networking. Oh yeah, 80-minute runtime. Yeah, that strikes me not as CPU. The other interesting thing about networking is if we try to hit the API server harder, ironically, we could wind up going slower, right? Because we hit more throttle.
Should we tag this issue added to the milestone just to remind us this is a blocker? I guess it's hard for me to understand how it's going to impact the release because there's no definition of done. Like we're still at the evaluation phase. Whereas like if this is like we already have a design and it's just about shipping code, then it's easier to commit to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think there's 2 stages here. One, if we cut a release now, like I don't think we have a release with this log line. I might be wrong. But if I remember right, the log line was intended to disambiguate like how much of this is network and how much of this is CPU, because it'll log out when it's done fetching things from the API server. And so then there's kind of 2 decision routes, right? If it's networking, then I don't know what we do, but that's the problem we try to attack. There might not be anything we can do, like there's only so fast you could query the API server responsibly. But if it's CPU, right, then we need to figure out, one, what kind of Rego they're running, right? What is the slow constraint template here? Is it slow because it has 1,000 constraints and it's being evaluated a bunch of times? Or is it like one very slow constraint template? And depending on that, you also don't want to overfit on one bug, but that can inform the multi-threading strategy, right? Rego itself runs single-threaded. But if you have like a relatively fast constraint template that has a bunch of constraints, threading like per constraint template makes sense, right? So you can, if you run 5 threads in parallel, suddenly it's 200 serial constraint templates that you're evaluating versus the full 1,000, right? 1/5. A little worse than that because of multi-threading overhead. But if it's like one very complex constraint template, you kind of want to make sure that that constraint template is getting evaluated in parallel with all the other constraint templates. Maybe it may be a batching process, like worker queue would kind of get you the right result regardless. I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself and sort of assuming different shapes to the problem, but that would be roughly how the solution would play out.
I mean, how about we just add it to the milestone for now, and then based on the evaluation, we can decide whether or not to remove it. Well, the reason why I'm saying this is, as far as I can see, no one is like asking us to cut the 312 anytime soon, right? So I'm asking if we could wait a little bit, not just for this particular issue, but for another one that I want to kind of champion. If we are willing to wait a bit and nobody's, knocking on our door for the release, maybe it's okay to evaluate and then come back and make a decision as far as like, should this be a blocker or not? I don't think we have enough knowledge to make that decision on this call right now.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a blocker personally, this bug,
Okay.
because we already have a log line. We can make progress
Okay.
regardless of when we cut. The
Because it
only
sounded
reason,
like you wanted to make sure we do it for 312.
no, oh, sorry. I was just laying out what the scenario was so that people could like make an informed choice. The only thing I personally, and I don't know if this is true or not, but if there's any like bug fix or something like that that we've been waiting on releasing, I forget what the delta is between head and the last time we cut.
I don't think there's any, there were like a lot of major things, not that I remember.
I remember seeing a lot of Helm fixes or features, I guess.
Okay.
Derek Ria come to mind. This is Alex. The panic and the modify set mutator and fixing Gator standard in. Gator's not that they can just use from main, but those are two fixes that come to mind. I don't think they're like major fixes, but just highlighting those.
Yeah, empty mutator, though the mutator that misbehaved, no modify set that's released. I don't view that as like necessarily all that critical. Like it is, if you have the ability to modify mutators, you could bring down Gatekeeper, which is not great, but you also probably shouldn't give people access to mutators if you don't trust them.
Okay, again, just to confirm on the issue 2502, do we wanted to add it to 312 or not? Why do I keep saying one?
Well, it's,
Yeah.
you mean added as a blocker? Because this is in my view, it's a bug. It's not a feature request.
Do you want it to add to 312 or not?
I think that it's a separate work
Okay, all right.
stream. Yeah.
Cool. All right, another one is issue 2386, which I was wondering if y'all are okay with wait a couple weeks for the release so we can get this in if possible.
Cache response from external data. Did we not already do caching? Why am I?
This
We
is
don't
on
cache
gatekeeper side.
We don't do it for external data
Yeah, and
response.
it's only for audit.
Yeah,
Only for audit?
I know we
okay.
talked about the design, we just
Complex.
didn't do the implementation yet. That's my bad.
Oh, okay. Because like I remember a lot of talk about like cache keys and things. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the design is already done, and I think we agreed on it. It's just about writing the code. So again, asking this group, are y'all okay with waiting a couple more weeks for the 312 release?
Can we set a time frame?
Yes, project manager. Okay.
Because otherwise, like
I
it's
know,
just going to be put off.
Thank you for doing that. I don't know.
So I put in 310. Do you want to do 17 or 24?
Maybe 24, just give us a little bit of buffer time.
Okay. Do we want to do the RC then, or do you want to do the
You mean
Yeah.
RC on the 14th? Sorry, on the, what did you say, 21st?
Yeah, RC on 24. I mean,
Oh.
it can be any day. It doesn't have to be 24. That 24 is a Friday, actually. It's probably bad.
I mean, I would imagine when we lock, we do RC, right? RC is when we're done, basically. When we're ready to ship.
So let's do the RC, then I'll just update this one.
Okay.
On 24, does that sound good to everybody?
Right.
Okay. I mean, if you're done early, then we are done early, but
Yeah.
the 24 is a Friday.
Okay. Yeah. Is everyone else okay with that? Okay. Again, because nobody has been asking when is the next release. So. Okay, cool. Thank you. Anything else that's blocking?
So I added a few issues into the milestone. Let me link to the milestone actually. Just know if there's anything we should add. I added to the 120 go 1.20. So that should be a quick PR to review, and then we'll also get it out with the latest bits. And then I added the SBOM in Providence generation also. That's also pretty like low effort PR. It basically just uses the built-in Docker capabilities. And then we can also advertise that, hey, we're producing SBOMs and Providence files when we build Gatekeeper.
SBOM, that's a euphemism for a swear word, I feel like.
Anything else? Since there's nothing else on the agenda, I just want to like get your thoughts on our test coverage. It's pretty bad. Again, nobody's like picking on us yet, but I feel like
Do you have a link to the where the test
looking
coverage?
at like the latest PR that has the test coverage running.
So pull request would Dependabot have it, or is it?
Huh?
It's the code cov. Is it code cov?
Yeah. I think we're only like at 50%.
50%?
I think. Yeah, 50. Yeah.
Depends
50%.
on what's covered and what's not covered, because a lot of stuff, you know, like autogen code, for instance, presumably we shouldn't really need to test.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, previously audit did not have any tests. I added a bunch of them, but we're still missing a lot of tests. We have an issue for audit.
I mean, I'm only raising this so that we can think about what to do next, like maybe create issues to add more tests or whatever. It's I don't mean to like solve it on this call or anything, but like, you know, just a way to think about how do we improve coverage.
Yeah, I think some of the packages don't have tests, like audit it doesn't have so much, so it decreases the overall percentage a lot.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to find a thing with a maybe it's because I'm not signed in on this computer, but now I should be able to see PR comment, because it just like raises a comment, right?
And then you can go to the unit tests to get the full coverage, I think. Let me see if yeah, so. So if you go to this, for example, the unit test, you'll see like the percentages of each packages.
Because the other thing, I would expect Gatekeeper to get a bit more value out of end-to-end tests versus the constraint framework, which would tend to be more unit test heavy, because most of our like code that does stuff, barring mutation, is in the constraint framework, right? The code that actually like actuates all the policy logic. A lot of Gatekeeper is wiring, right? Like the controllers that feed the constraint framework, that feed mutation, that feed data syncing. Most of the bulk of Gatekeepers associated with just that control loop. All right, so unit test. Oh my gosh, I do need to sign in. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, 1 second.
I mean, to your point, Sertash, I think the audit one is a low-hanging fruit. But other than that, it might be good to identify like the low-hanging fruits so we can improve the coverage a bit. Like I think ideally CNCF projects are at like 75% ideally.
Yeah, let's pick up a few like a low percentage ones. Like I see like the sync one is 8%.
Sorry, what are you looking at right now?
So the last link I sent
Oh, okay.
in the chat. Yeah, so that one has the percentages.
You're looking at the code cov thing?
No, not code cup, but just the CI, the unit tests.
Oh, okay.
In GitHub Actions. And then, yeah, so the audit had 14% now.
Do you want to, I actually don't know what you're looking at. Do you want to share your screen or?
Sure, one second.
Because just in case other people want to look too. Yeah.
Your screen, this one.
Also, while Surtaj is doing that, I don't think I've met you, Charlie. We should have. Hi.
Hey.
You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I can do. Yeah. No.
We should
Yeah,
have
I
done
was slightly
that.
uncertain about coming and today as to whether it would feel like I was sort of putting the pressure on about trying to work out who was coming to KubeCon and things, and I didn't want that to be my only contribution. But yeah, I've joined Styra at the beginning of December and working with the OPA team and on those kinds of things. So yeah, hi everybody. I'm just kind of sitting here listening this time around, really.
All right.
Hello.
Welcome, Charlie.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you all.
It used to be there was a comment that was put on the PR that would just give you the coverage dump.
Yeah,
Do we not do that anymore?
Oh, you mean like the actual logs?
Yeah, it should be if it's in a PR. This is what I was looking at. So like this is the unit tests in the CI.
Okay.
So this one is like 14%. There's a lot of log lines because we print out a lot of stuff, and then benchmarks. So like the config is like 71%. This one is 13. Constraint is 7. So it changes a lot, and some of them are like types. So like where's the types? Like these ones. So
like modify set operations.
yeah, so modify said this one parser has a lot of good coverage. So some of them are just like decreasing the percentages.
So some of those might have a lot of boilerplate as well.
And then I don't know where is code cub actually. Let me see James Spear. There it is. Yeah. So code cub is here. So that one is this is the total one.
Additional details impacted files that drop down.
Yeah. So in here, so this one will include also obviously the files change, but also some of our tests are I think we said they are non-deterministic. So they are percentage changes.
Yeah.
So for example, I don't think JDIP changed like the assign here. Maybe he did. But some of the things like the object tracker and stuff, they're like non-deterministic. So it does go up and down. But that's just a like small percentage, not like huge. And then if you want to see the whole thing, then you just go to full report, and then I think you can see it, but let me see. Where is it? Gatekeeper. Yeah, so you can see like the packages in this thing, and then we can like drill down on this. So what is? Yeah, let's see if I can. Yeah, so if we go to this one, so yeah, it tells us. So does this mean that there's no coverage? Is that why? Like the error, for example, or flag set, whatever.
Okay, yeah, I mean, error and flag set, we don't need test coverage for. I
Yeah,
think those
that's-
are constants. Or,
Yeah,
or
but
like,
my point was just they're just like decreasing the percentages so that the total percentage is basically just the whole thing.
yeah. But that's what I'm talking about here, where like, yeah, we probably need tests in more places, like audit for sure. Should have more test coverage. But I would hesitate to use just raw percent as an indicator of test quality, particularly since end-to-end tests also do not contribute to the coverage percent.
Should we?
Just real
Go ahead.
quick, there should be a way to tell them to exclude like generated files or like constant files from the code coverage, right?
Could be. Yeah, I think there. Let's look into that one. Yeah, because it does affect in here, like these generated ones are here.
Gatekeeper, master. Did you get to file list?
So I clicked on this gatekeeper and it just goes to master, and then you click on
Oh, this
file
toggle
list
there.
here. Yeah, there's a toggle here.
And you can sort by coverage percent. Looks
Yeah, and then the code tree will tell you like all the packages. This is a really interesting here, this file list. I don't think I've looked at this before. There is a new Copilot extension that can auto-generate unit tests, but it can only do for JavaScript and TypeScript right now. But when it does go, it can just auto-gen.
Do you trust the results of the autogen?
I mean, you have to obviously like look at it, but it's a good start then, like starting from zero.
I mean, I think we can add more tests, like say for audit, and see if that number goes up, right? Like that's a good way to.
Yeah, but but Alex's suggestion, I thought that was really good. If we exclude the generated ones,
Right.
then I think that's just gonna bump it up quite a few.
Well, like say webhook. Sorry, can you go down?
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Wait. So like webhook, that's really low. Why?
This webhook.co. Let's look.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's the code that calls it.
It's just the package file.
Yeah, so some of them are like just like that. It's
Yeah.
like this. It's probably like a few lines. Yeah, it's just add to manager basically.
Anyway, can we, I don't know, like between the few of us, can we like go through this report and add an issue, and for anything that you think should have better coverage, let's just add to the issue, and then anyone can work on it, right?
Yeah, let's add the exclusion
Okay.
before the thing list of future
Great.
requests. Exclude auto-generated.
I think ideally we should have like a badge on the README that actually shows the coverage, like all the other projects.
Oh,
It's
you can see it too. This is super cool. I like it.
You can see what?
The coverage. So if you go to like healthcheck.co, so and then it tells you like, hey, these are not covered.
Right. I wish Kubernetes had this.
Yeah. But you could also see like new TLS checker. Not super concerned that that one would break, or if it did, it would break invisibly. So like some of these places, yeah, you could add tests. Those tests would do a thing. But in practice, if it was broken, other tests would have broken. So there's driving up numbers, right? Like I would rather metrics be aligned with useful outcomes. Lines of code coverage is like quasi-indicative.
I did find some errors. I mean, like actual code errors when doing the unit test though. I think I changed something with the audit one, and then while I was writing the unit test, I found the bug with the in the code. So that is a good exercise. So like example was that, let me see if I can find that one quick.
Yeah, I mean, audit had like 0 coverage.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
a
yeah.
while.
So let me see which one was it. This one. Again, this is like just an example, very minor. So I think, yeah, I was trying to write these tests, and then I found that this line needs to be here. It's super easy to like to miss this while coding this, but while doing the test, then it becomes more apparent.
Right.
So it's a good exercise just to find bugs. Again, this is not like a big, super huge deal. Just an example.
Did my cat run away at the mention of unit tests?
That is what it sounded like. It's like unit tests. Oh no, not about this. I like to push code with no tests.
Anything else we want to cover?
Should I add an issue for test coverage? I guess.
I have one for audit specifically. Do we want to use that one, or do we want to create like individual issues?
Create like a high level one.
Sure.
Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about?
No, my biggest thing is just a review for the multi-engine.
Mhm.
There's active work on the cellcat if people are interested in looking at that code right now. The most interesting thing I think coming from that, other than the cellcat, is for the validating / mutating webhook configurations. They want to add like cell-based matchers to those, which, you know, if you wanted to more specifically carve out resources from being subject to admission webhooks, right? Right now we have the namespace label stuff, and you could do it by kind. This would let you do it by cell statement. It's a separate cat, but it's using the same code. So I thought I'd signal boost that. So if you had, like, say, cluster scoped resources, right, some like config map or something like that, that would be otherwise hard to exclude. This might be a good fit for that.
Do you want to link to the cell?
To the, let's see, what can I link to? Are you interested in specific PRs or the cell cap, or I could try to dig up the, so this is the cell cap that everyone's been working on. Let me see if I can find the other thing here. So that was what, 3488. Admission webhook match conditions. There we are. Here is the cap for the match conditions, the custom match conditions. What? What is it? Is you a good boy? You lonely?
All right. If there's nothing else, I guess I'll drop.
Thank you.
So I didn't realize my cat was muting and unmuting me.
Everyone.
Good to see everyone. Bye.
Good to see you all.
Bye.